Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar Open University.
Hello friends, welcome to Chaitanya Studio at Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar Open University, Ahmedabad. Myself, Dr. Vinodal Desai, working at Department of Computer Science, Sardar Patel University, Vallabh Vidyanagar. Today in these sessions, we are going to talk about event handling mechanism in JavaScript along with various DOM objects. Okay, so first of all, let's have a talk regarding events. What is an event and how the event is handled in JavaScript. So before we proceed to discuss and learn event handling, we need to know what is an event. And this event handling mechanism makes JavaScript more efficient. Okay, and it enables a more user interactive environment. So what is an event? So generally event is nothing but a change in the state of an object is called an event. So whenever any object's status gets changed, we can say the event has been triggered or fired. Suppose if clicking on a button, entering value in a text field, checking and unchecking the checkbox, radio buttons, etc., we can say are the examples of events. So let's go for that. Event handling in JavaScript is a software routine that processes actions that happen when a user interacts with the page, such as mouse movement and keystrokes. Event handlers in JavaScript are when an event is received by an event handler from an event producer and the processes that flow. Events are handled similarly in a browser. When the browser notices a change, it notifies the event handler that is listening for a specific event. The actions are then carried out as defined by these functions. When an event, consider presenting a keyboard key or clicking a mouse or an element, occurs on a DOM or an HTML element, we can call the specific functions based on that events. Now, how does the HTML element know when to call the mentioned JavaScript code or JavaScript function? This is taken care by the event handlers. The properties of DOM or HTML elements are called event handlers to control how an element should respond to a given event. JavaScript offers variety of event handlers that are activated in response to specific actions taken on HTML elements. A few of the event handlers in JavaScript are like onClick. So when a click action occurs on an HTML element, this event handler runs a JavaScript. For example, onClick event handler may be called when a button is clicked, link is clicked, checkbox is checked, or an image map is selected. Same way on mouse over. When a mouse is over a particular link or an object, this event handler runs a JavaScript. Onload. When a window or image has fully loaded, this event handler executes some JavaScript code. On key press. When a user presses a key, this event handler executes JavaScript code. On mouse out, same like on mouse over, when a mouse leaves a specific object or a link, this event handler runs a JavaScript code. On key up, just like a on key press, when a key is released during a keypad action, this event handler executes a JavaScript code. On key down, when a key is pressed on the keyboard during an action, this event handler runs a JavaScript. Okay, so this is we can say very important in a few of the event handlers of JavaScript. Now we will try to learn these event handlers through example. Let's see the various kinds of events. Okay. First of all, we will talk about onload. See here. We have a script, as you can see, having a one function named on for form unload. That means whenever the form is going to be, or we can say unloading takes place of the form, this function is going to be called, okay, and the message will be written that all data that you have entered will be lost. So when it is going to be called, so when the body having a one attribute, or we can say handlers named on form unload is equal to, we have just called the functions with a written keyword on form unload. The method will be called when the form is getting unloaded, and whatever data that we have entered will be lost. Let's execute the program so that you can easily understand. Okay, the name of, what was the name of our program? Let's check. On unload.html. okay, the file name was on unload. The last one. Let's run it. Okay, window press F5 to unload. Okay, so whenever we are entering any data, okay, and when we close, okay, like a form, or we can say refresh it, the form is getting unloaded, and so changes whatever we have made, that will be lost. So this will call a unload method. Unload event handlers. Next is key up. Okay, so whenever we are going to press any key, okay, then on key up, see here in a text field, input type is equal to text, ID we have specified, and then after one attribute, or we can say handler, is on key up. So whenever a on key up event is fired, the specified functions will be called. Okay, here we have specified the function my key up functions. So this function will be called, and appropriate, we can say, functions or the value is going to be displayed. Okay, element by ID, value, first name. So whatever name we have specified in a text field, that will be displayed when the key is up. Okay, let's execute on key up. If I write okay, see here, whatever I am going to write, that is going to be, you can say, displayed over here. If I will remove, it is going to remove. If I will write again, it will display the name. Whenever the key is getting pressed and key up takes place, so key up event handler handles this, we can say, events through the functions we have defined. So on key press or on key up is a, we can say, handler which handles mouse over. Okay, so whenever the mouse is over and mouse is out, we have two functions. Okay, so that will be called when the mouse over and mouse out takes place. See here, mouse over and out. Functions are defined as mouse over, and mouse over just gets the styling color for the particular event demo, that is a header 1, and then after out happens, then the color is going to change from cyan to red. Mouse out, mouse over. See here, whenever mouse over happens, cyan is there, and when mouse out happens, the color getting changed from cyan to red. Moving next to another event handling mechanism, on blur. The on blur, that means when the focus loss happens. So here we have see on blur handler we have defined through the one function, my function. So whenever the on blur happens, that means whenever we are writing or checking the checkbox, by default we have provided checked. Okay, that means checkbox will come as the checked status. So whenever we will uncheck it and on blur, that means focus is getting lost on blur. then the my function is going to be called as a handler, and it will just alert the message along with displaying a alert with a checked status, okay, of the particular first name ID as we have provided for the checkbox. Let us see on blur event handler. Okay, initially it comes with checked status as we have specified. I am going to uncheck it. Status gets changed. Okay, see here, event fired. Okay, checked box value is false as we have unchecked it. So this alert box comes when we are changing the status of a checkbox. That means lost focus, on bar event is fired. Then next was is we can say on change. Okay, see here the on change method. Document.get element by id first name. Okay, this is the id name, and on change, when this is going to change, we are firing the function my function. So what it does, it simply fetches the first name and converts it into the uppercase. So we can easily understand it. Then after on click is there. See here, when the button is having a on click, so button is going to be clicked, it creates a function named greet. The function greet will be called and an alert message will be displayed in the form of welcome to SPU. So this is a on click event handler. Let us see on click. Click here. So it displays a pop-up with a welcome to SPU message. Moving next to another example of event handler. On error load. See here, what happens, we have what defined over here is that on error is a event handler. So suppose, okay, we have defined it for the image tag. Okay, suppose image is there, source is defined first.gif on error. That means this event handler will comes into a picture in the form through this function when there is an error while loading this image. If the image is not loaded, then this error, we can say handler will comes into the effect and it will execute this function, and whatever message has been contained, that will be displayed over the screen. Okay, the size of the image to be displayed is width and height. Okay, let's go for that. What happens on error event handler? On error, where is it? What is the name of that file? It's on error is a event handler, but on error load. On error load, yes, this one. Let's execute. The image could not be loaded. Means what? The alert message comes up due to the error while loading the image. That means our image is not getting loaded. Why this is happening? Let us see. Because image is not getting loaded, so event handler comes into the picture through the functions we have defined. The image could not be loaded. So first.gif image is there. Let us see whether it is there or not. Okay, yes, first is there, but it is having an extension of JPG, as you can see over here. First image is there having extension JPG, not GIF. So this is what the problem is while loading the image. So we will improve the extension, correct it. Instead of GIF, we will use JPG, and now we will try to run the program again. So it will definitely work now without error handler. See here, now it gets loaded, so the on error event handler will not be executed as our event. So in this such kind of situation, the event handler helps us to know where the problem is and how do we update it. Moving next to another one, that is on focus event handler. Okay, so on focus will be there with this get element by ID first name. So first name is the ID defined for the text field that we are going to enter, and we are adding a event listener focus with a my function. So my function does what? It just changes the background color to dark blue. Then if it is lost focus, then we can say it is changes from to, we can say kya. So we have two functions, one is for the focus and another is for the blur, that is lost focus. When the gets focus, then we can say changes the color, that means style dot background color gets dark blue, and when the blur happens, that means control loses the text field, or we can say control comes out of text field, then the blur event happens and it calls the lost focus function, and the color gets changed from dark blue to cyan, and the alert message will come. So on focus event handler is there. See here this one. Okay, so dark blue is there when you are pressing it. Okay, the event lost focus, okay, and it converted to the cyan. So this is the event handler for the on focus. Then we have a on load. Okay, so whenever we can say body is getting loaded, so we have a on load event handler. So what do we want to do? So we want certain kind of mechanism, check your cookies functions to be called. Okay, while the body is getting loaded, we have defined on load functions. So once the body gets loaded, we are checking the cookies and we are printing some messages and accessing the inner, we can say, data of the cookie, like that. So on load event handler can be used while form is loaded, body is loaded, image is loaded, in such situations. Okay. Then after we can say on resize, that means when the window gets resized. Okay, body on resize, my function is going to call. So my functions will display different size of the window when it is getting resized. Okay, so on resize event handlers will help us. It will invoke a function on resize. Let's see it. Okay, right now to try to resize the browser window, we are trying to resize it. Where is the browser window? Sorry, let me to run it again. See here. See here, it is getting changed, value getting changed in terms of width, the height remains same. Okay, like this. If I will change it, okay, like this, then its height is getting changed. So this is a on resize event handler. When we are resizing the window, this event handlers will help us to get the height and width property of the specified window through the specified function. Now moving next to other examples on submit. Okay, when we have a phone and when we want to invoke any functionality while the form is getting submitted, then on submit is there, and that will invoke a particular functions, and it will have different mechanisms to either the data manipulations or any other kind of manipulations as per your requirement, and the process will takes place and performed on submission of the specified form. Let's test it. Here we have just defined our confirmation function, so that will be invoked while we will click on submit button. Let's say submit. So you have entered desai as a value in a text field. That is what we have just processed the data. That's it. So and once the submitted message is getting okay, we have specified a link of Gujarat University that is going to be executed. Say here, actions to be taken is, the link should be opened. So this is the actions once the form is getting submitted. So it will open the Gujarat University link. So this way also the form submission takes place or event submission, event handler helps us to handle the event. So this is all about event handling in JavaScript. So various event handlers are available and then we can test it by specifying various functions to handle those kind of events. Now moving next is all about browser object model. So the window object is a topmost object in a browser. The window object represents a browser's frame or window in which the web page is contained. Window object is the topmost or default objects in a browser. It is always running in a running status. When the page is visited, size of the browser window or use screen, alter text in browser, status bar, open new window, change the page that is loaded. The window object is global object, hence its name need not be used to access its properties and methods. As we already discussed that alert, prompt, confirm, they are the functions of the window objects, but we are not using window to invoke those functions or methods. In fact, global functions and variables are all created as properties of the local object. Okay, viewers might not even see this window as most browsers offer pop-up advertising filters. The window object's open method is used to open window and closing the close method is used. Window object is having a methods that is displayed here. It is having a blur method to unfocus the window, close to close the window, focus method to focus the window, print method to prompt the user to print the page, scroll by XY coordinates, scroll to XY coordinates, and stop to stop the document from loading. So these are various methods of the window object. Now let's test the window object practically so that we can have a better understanding. Okay. When we click on this GVP, okay, it opens a new window. See here, as it opens a new website of Gujarat Vidyapith. So what we have written in a open file, let us see. Here we have simply specified a click event. We are calling a message function. In a message function, we have written window.open method, and in a open we have specified the URL of the particular organizations to be opened when the actions triggers. Okay. Now moving next is, so same way we can use other functions like close, okay, blur, focus kind of things with the window objects to close the window, to lose the focus of the window, etc. The next object of the BOM is location object. JavaScript location is a built-in interface which represents the location or URL of the object to which it is attached. Both the window object and document objects have this property. The window object location property gives us access to the browser's Windows location, whereas the document location property gives us the location object for a particular document. It is used to fetch information of the current URL. Okay, whatever URL we are manipulating, it provides the information regarding that current URL. Location object method refers to the functions created inside the location interface which can be used to perform various operations on the URL like reload it, change it. Various methods like assign, reload, replace, hash, host, hostname, href, pathname, port, protocol, search. These all are, we can say, the properties that we can access and get through the location objects. Let's have a look to this location object. So what kind of data it provides? We have just created a location and we are using this alert, then location.url.well location, say a location.href, location.protocol, location.hostname, location.port, host, path name, hash, search. These all properties we are embedding, okay, with a particular location objects, and we are trying to fetch it. Let us test location object. We have designed a form in which Okay, URL is like this, http://bauj.com. Hello. Okay, it's having a properties like this. Okay, various port, host, path name is displayed over here, and hashtags. The same way for we can say we can have a history objects that contains the list of URLs visited by a user in a particular browser window, tab or frame represented by the window object. The history object is a property of the JavaScript window object. So generally history object does what? It simply provides the previous status of the user's navigations through a particular website or the URLs. Okay, so it is having number of methods through which we can navigate, we can move and back, we can move forward and move back through the navigation links. The length property of the history object specifies the number of items in a stack, but for security reasons scripts can't access these URLs. The property of the history object is the length only, while the methods is go, back and forward. The go method loads the specified page number in browser. This method uses as go instance, which is same as clicking the forward or backward button to the specified page. Back method loads the previous page, which is same as clicking forward button in the browser. The forward method loads the next page, which is same as clicking forward button in the browsers. Okay, so generally what happens, the back buttons will takes to the previously visited URLs, while the forward button or forward method will take you to the, we can say, next page that you are supposed to visit, which is same as clicking the forward button in the browser. Okay, let's look at this history object practically. We have two pages, H1 and H2. So let's href we have already defined. Okay, so when we have a click, h2.html will be called. Okay, so let's run h1 first. So it will invoke h2. When we click on that, you need to have a status of that. Go to the next page. See here, this is h2.html. A file couldn't be accessed. Okay, forward method is there. Okay, that we are not, it must have, we can say, go to the next page. Fine, let's open the h2. So h2's location, h1 location is where? It is, okay, the h2 was not available due to the path problem. Okay, because whatever path we have specified over here is a absolute path, and right now we have changed the path. Okay, so simply okay, now let us try to refresh it. So now it finds the h2.html, and when we click on this it goes back. Okay, and it is having a forward as well. So this is what the go forward as well as backward is there. So this way we can have a, we can say, history objects helps us to navigate to the previously or currently visited URLs or the addresses or websites, we can say. Next is the screen object. The JavaScript screen is an inbuilt interface that is used to fetch information related to the browser screen on which the current window is rendered. That means whatever window we are working right now, we want to fetch the information regarding that window. We can get this window information, its size, everything. Then we can use this screen objects, and it is having a property like available height, width, depth, height, pixel depth and width. Let's get through the example. a screen object is there. Okay, so we can have the properties like this: screen dot width, height, available width and height. When we will execute it, it will return these informations to the user of the window. See here, the screen width and height, all informations is displayed to the user. So this is all about the screen objects of the BOM. Moving next is the navigator object. So navigator objects provides several methods and properties that can be used to get interesting information about the user's browser. This can help the programmers to detect and find which functionalities are supported by the browser or not. Below are the mentioned some navigator object properties: code name, application name, versions. That means all browser related informations you can fetch and get through the navigator object. Okay, the listed information is already implemented to the program, so we will directly try to understand to the program in a navigator object. Let us go to the navigator file. So here we can see that navigator.application code name property, app name, app version, cookie enabled or not, language, agents, platform, etc. Now let's test it so that we can understand what kind of information it delivers to the user regarding the used browsers. So it's a Mozilla, Netscape, everything related to the browsers information is supported by or delivered by the navigator objects. So Java enabled and tinted enabled are the methods of navigator objects. So this is all about these sessions. We have learnt important objects of BOM in the form of window, document, navigator, screen, location and history. Apart from that, we have discussed various properties of these objects of the BOM. Thank you very much.